I created the Dabney to be a showcase for the Mid-Atlantic. If you look into the historical cooking of the region, a lot of it was done on the hearth. That mixed with a lot of time I spent in Charleston with some great barbecue pit masters and understanding what fire can really do, made me want to create a restaurant where I could really do those same things, but with vegetables, with fish, with all these other different ingredients. The hearth is the heart of the entire operation. It's important to us for people to understand the effort and energy that our farmers put in, that our cooks put in. They all do it literally because of the same reason that why I do it, which is to make all of our guests happy. So typically we get either a whole pig or a half a pig a week. You know, we've worked with the Trainums at Autumn Olives for a decade now. Look at how pristine this is, though.
That's awesome.
This is not normal to see this cleanliness on leaf lard.
And the reason why this hog's the way it is with close constructive criticism with these guys over here. It's like, hey, to get the meat to fat ratio right, it's an incredibly hard thing.
This is the process, right? These guys work years and years and years to produce a live animal. And then some chef calls them up and is like, a guest said there's too much fat on it, change it, make it different, you know? So you gotta form long-term relationships with people and work on that balance over time to really get to a good spot.
Luckily, this kitchen likes fat, and so do we.
Yeah. We love you, brother.
Yeah, love y'all too.
The copas on here too is one of the muscles of the shoulder. It contains a ton of fat, and like we were talking earlier, the fat's where all the flavor is with this pig, and that cut to me is like one of my favorite things.
One of our family styles tonight, we will be doing the whole autumn olive pig, right? So we're gonna try to get as many components of it on the dish as possible. And then we take the rack here, the loin, and we're gonna cook it in the hearth over the embers and char it really hard, let it rest, let it smoke, char it really hard, let it rest, and we'll go back and forth like that. And when it comes to serving it, we'll carve the rack off of it. We want the guests to see all the different beautiful parts of the animal, the way that we see it. A big reason for that family style entree is it allows us to use the whole animal. And it gives us an opportunity to work on a lot of different techniques. It keeps things fun and exciting. Oh, and beautiful, my friend. And it really shows to our guests how versatile and how much can be done with one of those animals. We're starting with our bread production here. This is Joe. He's going to be working on our sweet potato rolls. Something we've had on the menu since day one, part of our little catfish sliders.
I get the bread started first thing in the mornings. They take quite a while to proof, ferment, and then have to bake them off before service at 5:30.
Sorghum's a big part of our pantry here. We don't want to use any super refined sweeteners, so it develops this rich, deep, earthy, smoky kind of flavor and just adds a lot of character to the stuff that we work on.
After I mix it, I put it into a bin and let it ferment for about 2 hours before I shape them.
Baking's really important to us. When we first moved here, there wasn't a lot of great bakeries in town that delivered to restaurant or did wholesale. So we started doing a lot of our stuff in-house just to have that freshness and have that flavor. And I feel like we're starting to get to a much higher level now. I really wanted to have a bread here that was going to really represent all of these wonderful grains and things that we have from Anson Mills.
A lot of places don't really make their own bread in-house. They'll get it brought in, and often it's brought in from really good places, but we get to really customize it to be exactly what we want. It's a super cool opportunity.
Holy shit, these things are beautiful. Look at the eyes.
Don't think it gets nicer.
No.
This is Chesapeake Rockfish. Our fishmonger, Phil, who also has an oyster farm for us, dropped these off about an hour ago. These were in the water at 2 a.m., so that was about 12 hours ago. These guys were still swimming around. Still in rigor mortis, as you can see, which means it's the highest quality fish you can really get. We're starting the aging process right now. Basically what we're doing is cutting just underneath the scales of the fish, which allows us to remove all the moisture that lies underneath the scales and to allow that skin to dry really nicely.
So we really focus in on kind of the Chesapeake Bay and its watershed, right? If you look back throughout history, you will see this incredible cuisine that was starting to develop through the late 18th century, early 19th century. Washington, D.C. was kind of the center of the country and the growth, so they were able to have access to other things. And there really wasn't a purpose to focus on what the actual land and sea would grow into. My goal always was to create a restaurant that would take all of that, continue the story. I want to see it keep evolving. You know, America's a young country. We have a long way to go for developing our cuisine, but we're starting to really understand what Mid-Atlantic cuisine is.
So these will be aged from 5 to 7 days is our typical process. If you're talking about vegetables, if you're talking about beef, water is kind of the enemy because there is no flavor in that water. So removing that moisture from a fish will concentrate the flavor. You'll taste more of what rockfish should taste like.
Vegetables run shit around here. Clayton's got cabbage.
I got cabbage.
This is Casey, owner of Fireside Farms with his lovely wife and my favorite person. Brings me the goods.
So yeah, we've got some nice thin-skinned cucumbers here, nice juicy and sweet. This is a new variety called Margarita. It's a nice Asian cucumber with thin skin.
Ooh. We have a very atypical way of producing our menu, right? For us, it makes a lot more sense to achieve our goals, to talk to our farmers, talk to our fishermen, ask them, what's the best right now? What are you super excited about?
Well, have you guys ever seen like the inside of a fava bean?
Look at what nature built for these little puppies.
It's like this insane, spongy, super soft. It's like a baby's bottom.
You know, we roast these up directly over the coals and then give them to people like edamame to pop them and eat them, peel and eat style. All right, so this is Clayton, one of our sous chefs here at the Dabney. He's gonna be filleting our blue catfish.
The bloodline on this fish is actually kind of like a lot deeper than people think. If you really were to just cut through the center like a normal fish, you would find like a really dark red line running through it. So you kind of have to fan out as you're going. You can see like I'm creating a little scoop almost. It's just to kind of ensure that we're getting all of that bloodline off.
Blue catfish, introduced to the Chesapeake Bay many years ago for sport fishing. It took over, started wrecking shop, and outcompeting a lot of our native species. We made a commitment to always serve blue catfish. It's delicious, it's cheap, and you're helping the environment, you're helping the region when you use it. People, especially in America, grew up with native species that may be muddy or had different flavors, but these swim throughout the whole water column. They are very, very clean, very flavorful. That's why we made the little sweet potato rolls, to have something that could just always be there to kind of promote catfish and also be a gateway drug for people into catfish because it's so mild. You like it?
I like it.
We have a rooftop garden here at the Dabney. The difference in quality between an herb that has just been picked versus one that has been picked, put in a container, shipped somewhere, it's night and day. You have that experience and then you're spoiled and then you can't go back. If it has the buds and flowers on top, it's not putting energy into the leaves, it's putting it into the flowers. So we'll top those flowers. My God, it's just like the most incredible aroma. And then that way, like instead of basil being like one leaf that you're eating or me having to chop this up, I can like sprinkle this over an entire dish so like you get the perfect amount of basil in each bite, which I think is really, really cool.
These are beef culottes. Coulotte is the top flap of the whole sirloins that we get. It's a local beef producer called Rosetta Farms. What we do is soak them quickly in a white soy. Ends up kind of caramelizing the beef when we put it on the coals.
You know, 200 years ago, you weren't gonna find shiso here, but all of our farmers grow it now. Friends at Keep Well produce all these different ferments, vinegars, they do misos, they do everything, but it's all from Mid-Atlantic products.
The importance is that the coals are really lit. If you put them on black coals, you're gonna get that kind of like gassy charcoal, but it's a really quick operation. Sear them on all four sides, and then we're gonna cool them down in this soy again. And then before service, we'll pick them up on the coals again, and then slice them really thin for our beef dish tonight. It's probably one of the more intensive coal-oriented projects.
All right, so fun Wednesday today. We've got about 50 covers on the books. I think we'll have quite a bit of walk-ins like last night. A couple of fun things going on in the kitchen. This evening, we've got a new rockfish dish going on, the little cherry tomatoes, and tossed in a lot of garlic oil. And then we're using the fire bricks to build this little house that they go in, pile the top with a lot of smoking logs and embers, and then slide the tomatoes right underneath so that those coals are bubbling all that skin in the tomatoes just till they get hot enough to where they want to burst. And then we take those tomatoes and pass them through a sieve, and that juice that comes out, we emulsify with a little olive oil and salt, and that's the sauce for the fish. That's it. It's like simple, it's clean. You guys always crush it, so let's do it. All right, so it's about 5:45. Service is starting to kick off. Bar's filling in, guests are pouring in. We're in a good spot. Everybody's ready to roll. Final tastings, final conversations before we lock in and have a great night. The Hearth is the heart of the entire operation. We really focus on it for everything. Probably 80 to 90% of the items that we cook here are going through that hearth. And it allows us to impart a level of flavor. We're making cornbread here at the Dabney. We get our cast iron pan ripping hot. We've got some lard here from the pig from earlier. What you want to do is have a nice coating all the way around so that when we're pouring that cornbread in here, right? You see how it's all around the edges, right? Bubbling, you see that fat? That's exactly what we want. It's got a lid to hold in the heat. It's got a heat source from the bottom. So now the top, it'll start cooking and steaming through. It's usually about 7-8 minutes total. We can get the pan so hot over the embers, and that heat is what's giving you that crispy edge and that color on the outside. Really beautiful product. We're really proud of it. So sugar toads are pufferfish. It's the colloquial term for them that fishermen will call them because what they'll tell you is they're ugly as a toad and sweet as sugar. They have this big head, nice little tail that has 2 fillets of meat on either side of it. We didn't want to call them pufferfish because I got sick and tired of people coming up to me and saying, like the one that'll kill you? That is not it. It is a different species. We treat them almost like a chicken wing. We will bread them, we'll fry them, and then that's how you eat them as well too. And they are really delicious. Super sweet, clean flesh. We dress it in a little bit of our fermented hot sauce and some honey. It's a fantastic little snack. When you cook a piece of protein, if you don't rest it properly and you cut it, you will see all of that juice just pour out of it, right? So the veggies have a very similar thing, right? And what we're trying to do is get them to that exact moment. But since we're not carving it with a knife, a guest is going to bite into it, and we want all of those natural juices and all that flavor to just kind of release. The Hearth-Roasted Vegetables are incredibly important to our menu format and structure, but also to the entire restaurant and how we operate. That dish allows us to buy the 5 pounds of the unique little vegetable that one of our farmers grew that they don't have a market for, they don't have a place for, right? Why we have the Rooftop Garden, right? It's an insane collection of herbs. Man, super, super good right now. Hearth-roasted vegetables here at the Dabney, one of our classic dishes we've had on since the beginning, and my personal favorite.
Fire a slice of bread, oysters, Lancers, crudo tartino bag. Fire, oyster, pork rind, and a slice of bread, kohlrabi crudo on bag. Yes, chef.
What I think is really important to let our guests know and for them to understand is that the practices that we have. So the relationships with the farmer, the focuses on sustainability. Having guests that realize that when they're coming here, they're a part of that community and they're helping out to build that community.